right? So yeah, thank you for joining the class. So we'll be starting the course, the cybersecurity fundamentals.
Sure.
So the course is going to be a blend of yes, the foundation of the cybersecurity, and as we proceed with the course, I'll be also be talking with we'll be playing with a lot of technologies, because for you to
Okay.
be cybersecurity person, you need to understand some of these fundamental technologies. So I will not presume that so I will run us through some of the technology, and so let me start with the content. So I think I've introduced myself. So what we'll be covering, so we have about 6 to 8 modules that we're covering, and each of those modules, they're like a lecture on their own. So we'll be starting with the introductions to cybersecurity. I will talk about the overview. We also talk about some cybersecurity concepts. So I'm going to talk about the security architecture principle. So because of your background in project management, I know that you have done some architecture, but this time around we streamline it to cybersecurity architecture principle. We'll be talking about the security of network systems, application, and data. So we might spend more time whenever we get to this module 4. So module 4 is I think is the most voluminous module, and because we're going to talk about network security, we're going to talk about system security, like what do I mean by system security, line of security, operating system security, Active Directory security. Then we're also going to talk about application security and data security. So after that, we'll be talking on incident response. For example, if there is a cyber incident, we all know that as the entire world is leveraging on technology to automate to what they do, so the bad guys too are also leveraging on technology to also enrich themselves. There are a lot of happenings that are happening around the world, like ransomware attack, like data theft, and all of that. So how do you respond to a cybersecurity incident? How do you contain the incidents and all of that? Then we also talk about the security implication of adoption of emerging technologies. What are the emerging technology? Emerging technology like artificial intelligence, data analytics, blockchain, internet of things, and all of that. But in case if this thing stop, I should just click on the link, because it is click on the link and we on the
Rejoin.
rejoin. Yeah, so let's delve
Okay.
into this section.
So before we delve in, I think the one you sent to me is different from what you showed on the system. I just wanted to be sure.
Okay, you can. I'm not sure. Okay, let me check.
I mean, the document you sent is different from what you were sharing. That's just what I wanted to call out, but
It's still
let's
the
just go
same.
ahead.
Okay, I got the one I sent to you. I did an highlight of what
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about. So each of those
Okay.
modules might contain about 2, 3 different highlights. If you look at the objectives, the objective, we have about 9 objectives. The core information assurance principle, identify the key component of cybersecurity network architecture applies. So they're just like kind of highlights. So
Okay.
we will talk about that. Don't worry. We'll discuss
Okay.
everything, right? So let's start with this section 1. So in this session, we'll be looking at the definition of terms, and we'll also be looking at the objectives of cybersecurity. What are the They'll also be talking about the domains of cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is very broad. We had various domains, and the reason why I'm asking your background, so that from your background, I think you might be well suited for the information security compliance and program management. So we'll be talking about the different domains of cybersecurity. Then we'll also talk about the cybersecurity rules and governance. We'll be talking about the comparison of cybersecurity and information security. What's the difference between cybersecurity and information security? So let's look at the introduction. So when we're talking of cybersecurity, so cybersecurity is a subset of information security
Sorry. Can I get these notes? Is it possible?
Sure.
Or I just need to
Sure.
Okay.
I will.
Okay.
You get it.
Okay. Thanks. So I'll just listen.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
You get the note, and also at the end of a week session, I will
send the video.
I will upload the video on my YouTube channel. So I'll just share the link with you.
Okay.
So let's start with the definition. What is this? The cyber security. So know that so many people, if you look at so many people confuse cybersecurity and information security together, or it can also be used interchangeably. No, and so but cybersecurity is actually a subset of information security and can be defined as follows. So cybersecurity is all about the protection of information asset by addressing the threat to information processed, stored, and transported by internet information systems. So what do I mean by this? So what is information asset? Information assets are your digital asset, can be your mapping that you work with a bank. For example, the core banking application is an asset. The cards, the channels, the electronic channels that processes the card, is the software that used to process the card, information asset. The infrastructure that will house your application, infrastructure like the servers, operating systems, and information asset. Even your system, your laptop is an information asset. Your mobile device is an information asset. Your iPad, your tablet is an information asset. So the protection of information assets generally, especially the technological asset, and is what is being referred to as cyber security. But when we're looking at the information security is broader. Information security has to do with the how to make sure that you address the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information assets. So information security goes beyond the technology. For example, I know that banking industry are very heavy on documentation, like your document that is in the file cabinet. How do you protect that? It's still part of information security. So information security also in some banks or in some organization, you may have the chief security officer. So the chief security officer might be the person that will be taking care of anything that has to do with the protection of the company physical properties,
assets,
asset, and all of that. So it all depends. So, but for the sake of this course, we'll be talking more on cybersecurity, because that's the main thing. Gone are those days that the chief information security officer will probably be reporting to chief security officer, or the chief security officer will double up in that aspect. In my various career, I've doubled up as the chief security officer when I was with working with one of the largest startup in the Central Africa. I was a CSO because I manage both the physical security and the information security aspect of the organization. So, but for this course, we'll be limiting it to cybersecurity. So let's look at the other domains. What are the domains of this security? So I told you information security is more broader. You can see that cybersecurity just only deal with the protection of your network, protection of your internet, the protection of your applications. But information security look at how do you manage the employee, the cyber, how do you ensure cyber safety? How do you protect your critical information infrastructure? And also, how do you address the cyber criminals? So let's look at the situational awareness. So as a cybersecurity professional, you need to understand your organization environment, and you also need to have the knowledge of information threat. So as a cybersecurity person, you must be able to put on different hats, and you must also be sure that you have the visibility. If you can see this guy realized that he needed more visibility. That's why the guy is using a magnifying glass so that to achieve that visibility. So what are the technology factors impacting security? Because for you to understand to understand your organization environment or the knowledge of information asset, you need to look at the level of IT complexity. Technology is very complex now. You need to look at the network connectivity. What do I mean by network connectivity? How do you connect to your maybe your internet service provider? How do you connect to the third party? Like bank connect to a lot of third party like fintech, third party like even government, insurance, and all of that. The public third party, the internet, and the connectivity. You also need to look at this specialist industry devices and experimentation. For example, if you work in a manufacturing company, there are specialized devices that they use, instrumentation like programmable logic control, something like a SCADA. So you need to look at that. How do you look at that? The platforms, application, and tools used. For example, the ERP, the human resources management systems, the core banking applications, your network devices like the Cisco router, Cisco switches. Then you also need to look at the on-premise cloud or hybrid system. I know that most banks, especially most big commercial banks,